Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Well, today I want to talk about the full moon in January, and this full moon happens on January 13th. And I love these full moons that have been happening lately because they always happen for 6 months in a row at 29 degrees, and that's so significant. Because it means the ending of an era, the ending of something big. But of course that means a new beginning's coming because of this. And I say that because there's only 30 degrees to a sign. So when something is at 29 degrees, it is at the last degree of a sign. So before I get going about this January full moon, I want to remind everyone to sign up for my free newsletter. Go to galacticcenter.org and sign up. You will get all of my predictions delivered to your email once a week. On top of that, while you're there at my galacticcenter.org, don't forget to check out my Patreon page. You get so many opportunities with it. It's really well worth it. You're going to want to become a part of this spiritual community. You get the magazine, you get live classes. Check it out. The other thing is my Galactic Planner. If you haven't tried my Galactic Planner yet, you're going to love it. We are including all these new updates that are going to be astounding, and it's the only calculator that does all that this does. I promise you there's nothing out there. It calculates your personal chart and gives you all of your transits and your dashas. It's amazing. We have worked like crazy to do all of the translations of what all these planetary aspects mean. So it's not AI, it's personalized, and it's like a reading delivered to your calendar on your phone or your computer. You'll be able to have the guidance of the stars every day. That's the galacticplanner.com. One more thing I've got to tell you is my university starting first week of February. If you want to learn Vedic astrology, go to universityofvedicastrology.com. Okay, let's get going here. Now, January 13th, we have the full moon at 29 degrees of Gemini. And of course, when you have a full moon, that means the sun and the moon are in opposition. So we have the sun at 29 degrees of Sagittarius oppose the moon at 29 degrees of Gemini. Gemini is all about communication skills, opening up the lines of communication. And for so long, we have been lied to. People don't like to be lied to. Yes, all over the media, lie after lie after lie. Now there's going to be restraints. Now there's going to be truth. Now we're not going to be lied to anymore. So get ready for what's to come. This year, it's going to be amazing. And starting from last November of 2024, all the way till April of 2025, each full moon occurs at 29 degrees. Each month it moves up a sign. So next month, the full moon will be at 29 degrees of Cancer. We'll talk about that later, but that's Gandanta. We'll talk about that next month. But this one, I love this full moon because it is in one of my favorite Nakshatras, Purna Vasu. Purna Vasu means return of the light. And I think it's so interesting that this nakshatra follows Ardra. You know, in the whole scheme of the 27 nakshatras, each one kind of tells a story from one thing to the next, to the marriage nakshatras, to the funeral khat, the ending nakshatras in Pisces. But this is in Gemini, and Purna Vasu follows Ardra. Ardra means the storms, the heavy storms, the storm god. Rudra rules Ardra. So right after the heavy storms, the dark night of the soul of Ardra, comes this nakshatra, Purna Vasu, return of the light. It's like a warm, sunny day, clear skies after the heavy storms. So hopefully This is bringing some light, return of the light. But what I think this light is going to be mainly all about is that communications are finally being cleared out of the way. And then the sun, being in Uttara Ashada in Sagittarius, is one of the nakshatras. The ashadas deal with truth-seeking, finding truth. So finding truth and the media and communications are now what we're going to experience. The days are gone of all the lies the media has been pushing towards us. And even if they're still pushing some lies, we all know now they can't get away with it. It's like things have been cleared. What a massive clearing is happening in this world. And of course, you've got to know still, during this time, when you look at the moon, well, Mars is in Cancer, which is ruled by the moon. So Mars dispositing planet, meaning where it goes to, its heart and its soul of Mars being in Cancer, goes to this moon, which is all about communications, return of the light, an opening. And another thing that Gemini deals with, we always think of communications in the media, but it definitely deals with travel and learning. So there's going to be some new openings for education, for learning, and things are going to change probably in the universities and the schools. There's a new light coming about, a new way of learning, and the old ways are being shut down that, possibly something to do with what they were blocking or not telling the truth with in the schools, and maybe that's in higher education in the colleges. This is going to open and change, and this means globally around the world. I want to tell you that. And the other aspect of what Gemini deals with is travel. And this is a year of monumental developments with how we travel. Everything is changing. Even the way that airports are constructed and how we get through them. All of the avenues and aspects about travel are going to change. And it's for the better. So maybe they'll have different ways to go through security where it's not what it used to be. And there's going to be some positive changes with that, as well as new ways of travel. So not only, but Gemini is an air sign, so it can mean traveling by air per se, but not only that, it also deals with cars. So that's another form of travel that is going to change the way we travel in vehicles. And I know that it's going to become more and more prevalent. We're going to get more used to cars that travel without drivers. I know we're just kind of like uneasy about that right now, but something will be devised where this is going to start making sense and start happening. Now, another thing that's very, very interesting about this day that I think is grand and unbelievable is that if you look where Uranus sits in the sky, on this day of the new moon, it sits at 29 degrees of Aries. And the reason why this is so spectacular is it is sending a perfect trine aspect to the sun at 29 degrees of Sagittarius. And Uranus, I always say, is the great awakener. It is. It awakens us to things that we never thought of before. It's the planet of invention. And actually, when Uranus was discovered, the whole Industrial Revolution started. As you probably learned when you were growing up in school, it was the cotton gin that started the Industrial Revolution, because all of a sudden, we had machines that could start doing things, not just people doing everything manually by hand. So this was the beginning of invention, of change. Plus, really, Uranus rules electricity and lightning. And around the time of that, we started getting more in touch with electricity. And that became, can you imagine if we didn't have electricity? We had to run around with candles still. And, you know, everything's run on electricity. Our heating, our air conditioning, gotta have it. So electricity and the way of power and energy is going to change with Uranus aspecting the sun. Now, I know this is only a day that the sun will be that degree, but this full moon kind of marks this day of progress with invention, using energy, vibration, electricity, but most of all, do not forget Uranus is called the Great Awakener. And that means we're all awakening to a new world. And the way that leaders govern the world, because the sun represents presidents and leaders. Uranus aspecting the sun means a new awakening in politics and governments, presidents, prime ministers around the world. And I'll say this too, as an astrologer, I really hope that astrology starts to become more mainstream. And boy, we have a lot to work out with that, because let me say this, astrology, all the sun sign stuff that, you know, started with Linda Goodman's Sun Signs, we all loved that book and, you know, started with it back in the 60s and 70s, but it really kind of did a disfavor to astrology. I know a lot of you love your sun sign astrology, but it's not real astrology. I'm sorry, it's not. When you really understand astrology, you understand that it does a disfavor to the true science of astrology. When people say, oh, I can't accept my sun sign being in Libra when I was a Scorpio, I'm not a Scorpio, you know, because in tropical, I'm a Scorpio. No, stop it, all of you guys out there. When you really understand the whole chart, then you will stop this nonsense that really does a disfavor to astrology. It is not the superficial nonsense of sun signs. It's a science. When you really understand astrology, you'll understand how silly the sun sign stuff is. And you know, so many people have opinions about astrology that have never studied it, as well as the Western astrologers that have never studied Vedic, but they have such a strong opinion that it, you know, Western's the only way to go. I can give you opinion on what's better. Why? I've done both. I was a Western astrologer for 20 years and I've been a Vedic astrologer for longer. And I know the process and what they involve and why. And I know there's some astrologers out there that still believe in the tropical system, but let me just say, here's why I'm saying all this. Uranus rules astrology, so there's going to be a new awakening to astrology and the science and the value and what it can do for the world. This is going to begin this year. Thank God, if y'all only knew what I went through, especially in the 80s being an astrologer. Oh my God, I don't know how many people tried to save me. It's crazy. They don't even know what it is, but they have such a strong opinion. And I used to have to go around with the same story. Oh, by the way, who do you think the three wise men were? They were following the stars. They were astrologers. I had to come up with all of this to protect myself, because people would actually, when I had my center, I would get letters, they're going to burn my building down because I was of the devil because I was doing astrology. That's what I mean. You don't know what I went through in the 80s. But anyway, we're going to have an awakening. We're going to have a spiritual awakening. It's going to involve seeing things from a different, higher perspective of the truth and the reality of things, because the sun is in Uttara Ashada. The Ashadas are about the truth. The moon is in Purna Vasu, wake up, return of the light. And they're at 29 degrees. Plus we peg Uranus at 29 degrees, casting a trine to the sun that's causing us all to wake up. And even different types of energy, using different types of energy, as well as different modes of healing with energy. All of this is happening, and I'm looking forward to 2025. This new moon will be an interesting development, you'll see what I mean. So welcome 2025, and this January full moon, I look forward to seeing the results. So with that, I'll close. Remember, if you'd like to get my free newsletter, go to galacticcenter.org, sign up for my free newsletter, my Patreon, check it out, as well as my Galactic Planner, galacticplanner.com. Get your chart where you can see everything from a Vedic perspective. Learn Vedic astrology, and leading into that, if you want to learn Vedic astrology, go to my university website, universityofvedicastrology.com. Thank you.